Hello again, Struck Club. Today I'm bringing you another Fall-Winter 21-22 Struck List special, and this one will be dedicated to games that have 2D graphics, are single player, don't have any PvP. If they do have multiplayer, it will be co-op only, and are action games. So there will be mostly action RPGs. With, I think in the list there is one platformer, one first-person shooter, and one game that's kind of hard to describe. You'll see later on, it's more like a strategy game, but with some sort of real-time action combat during the combat phases. So I will be showing the games in order of release. But since some games don't have a fixed release, I will start with whatever releases in November, with one game releasing in October after the games releasing in November. That will be because I just don't want to start with that game. And then we will go to quarter for 2021, games releasing in 2021 without mentioning when, and eventually games releasing in quarter 1 2022 and games that don't have a date, that just says coming soon in 2022 or wishlist and follow and stuff like that. So buckle up, there's gonna be 13 games. Feel free to skip ahead to the games that catch your attention and don't watch the ones that you don't like. And I hope you like it. The first game I'm gonna start with, as I mentioned, will be a game releasing in November. It actually has already released yesterday. I'm recording this on 16th of November. This game should have launched yesterday on the 15th of November 2021 on Steam. Developed by Agaricus Games, bringing to your attention Acquiescence. I'm probably butchering the name of this game, but Acquiescence, let's say Acquiescence, maybe. Dive into a world of eldritch horrors in this 2D side-scrolling shooting action platformer. Platform your way across surreal and mysterious terrain while blasting through a multitude of strange foes. Amazing background soundtracks to assist you in your journey. So it's saying that there's 7 surreal nightmarish levels battling through strange lands. Jump, dodge and platform your way around little traps sprawled across the world. If you like platformers, which is probably one of the genres I like the least, you might like this one if you want that old school platformer vibe, where you have interesting enemies, unique weapons to use, unique bosses, and dark electronic background music. That game might be to your liking. Next we have a game launching on the 29th of November 2021. It's called Striving for Light and it's developed and published by Igniting Spark Games. It is described as an indie action roguelike hack and slash game, and the thing I like the most about this game is how interesting and randomized and constantly evolving the skill tree is. I think this will catch a lot of people's attention. Yeah, it will be an early access game, so on the 29th of November expect to have access to an early version of the game. It could be an alpha, it could be a beta. In any case, it will be buggy. It could be missing major features, it could be subject to major reworks and wipes and whatever. I can't guarantee anything, that's how it is with early access games. There is a demo. You can download it right away on Steam, and if you go to the website of the game, which is strivingforlight.com, you can scroll down and there's a free download on each IO of the alpha. And be advised, alpha means missing major features of a game, missing content, missing a ton of things. So let me say more about the game. It's a roguelite aRPG where you utilize a unique infinite expanding skill tree to fight your way through the darkness, striving for light. On the website you would see some information About the combat system, dynamically switch between melee and ranged weapons during fights, dual resource system to manage melee and ranged attacks, dodge enemy attacks. For the skill system, each run gives you a new unique skill tree to explore. Dynamic expanding skill tree depending on your skill pathway. Infinite skill tree for infinite progression. The ultimate sandbox for skill combinations, which is, I think it's the thing that will keep me playing and replaying this game, just to experiment with that skill system. Under weapons and wood, it says hunt for weapons with unique mechanics enabling playstyles. Wood is hiding in every corner waiting to be uncovered. It could be chests, it could be urns, it could be, I guess, drops from enemies, we'll see. Find shards which grant additional skill points as well. I think it sounds pretty amazing, can't wait to try it. The next game on the list is Frontier of Fortune, The Unlimited War, which apparently is episode 10 of the Fortune Chronicles. It's a strategic game of territorial dispute amongst countries / kingdoms in Fortune. Experience the fun and impressive Fortune series that has continued for 12 years. The games are a type of a board game. In Fortune there are 41 cities and 3 lands: Kingdom of Motoni, Empire of Anderas, Uvark Union and Vasily Monsters. Players choose one land and battle with the other lands and monsters to conquer all 41 cities to win. First, players must run policies for unit training, market vitalization, food production, recruitment, rampart strengthening, to develop land and recruit soldiers for war. The recruited soldiers invade other cities, win the war and conquer land for expansion. Also, executing land projects shall develop land's intrinsic policies. I'm reading, by the way, right now. So yeah, from time to time lands will have various events such as foods, disease spread, conflagration, festivals and harvesting, which makes it difficult to predict each land's rise and fall. So if something sounds sketchy, maybe it would be due to the translation which I'm reading. Since the game provides various difficulties, enjoy this game as you would play a board game with friends. Of course, friends here means AI. Frontier of Fortune welcomes you anytime. It's an interesting 2.5D game, comes out on the 20th of October 2021, meaning it's already playable since last month. Dotomchi Games Inc. Are the developers and publishers, and as I mentioned, this is episode 10. Frontier of Fortune is coming on Steam, finally on PC, and the thing that caught my attention about this game is it reminds me of Dragon Force, which I played on Sega Saturn when I was a kid. Sure, it's very different, but still very similar. Next we have another game with a playable demo on Steam. In fact, I've played the demo during the, I think it was the Summer Next Fest, World of the Parties. Announced release date is kind of not fixed. It's Q4 2021. We don't know exactly when. Developed and published by Magic Cube, as well as the developer is said Dizcon, Dizcon. About this game. The World of the Parties is a 2D party shoot-em-up RPG game about a girl who goes on an adventure searching for her missing father and a childhood friend who helps the girl. Explore a unique fantasy world with various teammates you meet along the travels. I'm just gonna give you my honest opinion of the game. It seems fun, it seems nice. And I like the system, I like how certain things work, how you meet certain heroes. The demo was kind of short-ish, so I wish there was more, but I think it's something unique out there. There is an interesting party system with up to 10 party members. There is an ultimate system, there is a bar, there is training, blacksmith, ranking up, there is an inn, a bunch of quests and all sorts of other things in the game that players should enjoy. I think it's best if you just download the demo. It's available on Steam, and test it for yourself. And now we're moving on to Archvale or Archvale. Archvale, I've just played yesterday the demo. Take up your weapon in this RPG bullet hell world and embark on a journey to right wrongs from long ago. Only you can defeat the evil forces of the Undying Guardians and reunite the world with the fabled Archvale. The release date is not fixed, it says 2021. Published by Humble Games, developed by idoz and phops, or maybe that PH is pronounced PAPS. But idoz and phops are the devs, Humble Games are the publishers. It will be launching on Steam and on Humble as platforms on PC. Key features: play your way, augment your character via badges, allowing you to create a build that suits your playstyle. There are 40 badges, and from what I've seen, badges can cost 1, 2 or maybe more badge points. And you have a total of 9 badge points to spend. You start with 3, eventually this grows up to 9. So if you have 40 different badges, some of those are different. For example, there was one that made my projectiles kind of tilt towards enemies like a magnet. Not completely out-aim, but if I shoot next to an enemy, it will go towards it. There was a badge that... if I remember correctly, there were badges for extra melee damage or extra range damage or extra magical damage. There was a badge, I think, that lets you have chance to get some healing things every now and then. So it's nice with the badges. Then there's Mastery is Key. Skill-based bullet hell combat will put your weapon of choice to the test and require precision and speed to succeed. Weapons, there are a bunch of weapons. Swords, axes, staffs, tomes, bows, whatever, and all of those weapons have ranges. Even swords that have range 0 still have some sort of ranged attack within a certain range that you can shoot the sword as a projectile. So even though you're wielding a melee weapon, it's still used as a ranged. It just has a very short range compared to another one like a bow or a staff or a tome. Plenty of weapons, and you can have 8 equipped at the same time, and using the scroll or 1, 2, 3, etc. 8, you can switch between those weapons. So think of weapons as your skills, and you can just switch. I'm using this skill right now, boom, I don't want it, I'm using that skill right now, and so on. Build your arsenal. Craft over 200 weapons and armors using items gathered from the environment and from slaying enemies. So you have wooden stuff, you have iron stuff, and probably you move on to bronze, silver, etc. and so on. Explore the world. A host of enemies across diverse environments and classic-inspired dungeons will take you across an ever-changing map where you will find unique resources needed to complete your journey. Discover the truth. Uncover the dark core of the world on your quest to unearth the arch to the fabled world of Archvale. Lore-wise, the game is nice. Gameplay-wise, pretty cool. I only had one problem when playing the demo, and it is there are those things that you interact with the statue. It teleports you in a round circular arena, and in that round circular arena you cannot shoot, you can only move and dodge. And you have to collect certain crystals that spawn. You collect the crystal, then the crystal moves to different place of that circle, and on that circle there is a rotating cannon that shoots projectiles. Once you collect that crystal 10 times, you move to round 2 and get a checkpoint. And then there's 2 of those, and then there's 3 of those on the 3rd round. And I think this was kind of overpowered. At least I've played 2 of those, and one of them was overpowered, the other one was fine. So I think they need to look into rebalancing this. It could be pissing people off. Thankfully, it's a side thing that you don't need to do unless you want to earn a special badge. But it didn't sit well with me how overpowered and imbalanced that one was. Apart from that, very fun boss fights, very fun combat system, very fun itemization and upgrading and everything. A ton of potential in the game. Download the demo before it disappears if it's still there on the Humble Store and test it for yourself. Now we're moving on to another game published by Humble Games that will be available on Steam and on Humble. Developed by Kouash Games, I think it's how to pronounce it. Kouash Games, release date 2021, no specific release date. Here is Totemic. Totemic, another 2D action RPG. It looks amazing. Visually, I like the beautiful 50 Shades of Blue, maybe we can call it. There's a lot of blue. I love blue as a color, so there's a lot of icy etc. stuff. And Totemic is an action-adventure game set in a beautiful pixel art world. You play as Mara, a young woman equipped with an enchanted axe and the ability to absorb her foes' powers and use them as her own. Help Mara explore the war-rich world, defeat powerful bosses, master incredible magical abilities, and solve intriguing puzzles to help you learn the secrets of Mara's heritage. Totemic includes a fast-paced, real-time combat system. Switch between Mara's different forms to access different skills and attacks to save the world from impending doom. So yeah, I can't wait for this game to maybe release a demo the same way Archvale did, so I can check how it feels. And next we have a very interesting title, Power Slave Exhumed, or Exhumed, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. This is a KEX engine, KEX engine, KEX. Port of the classic console game, perfectly blending both the PlayStation and Sega Saturn versions. I have played this game as a kid on Sega Saturn. I didn't even know it was a PlayStation 1 title, but the Sega Saturn version, it was such a remarkably good shooter for a Sega Saturn back in the day. Developed by Night Dive Studios and Dotomchi Software. Published by Night Dive Studios and Throwback Entertainment. By the way, if you go on the website, if you go on nightdivestudios.com, you would see that those guys are remaking a lot of games like Quake 1, System Shock Shadow Man, System Shock 2, Doom 64, Singoat, Blood Fresh Supply, Forsaken, Turok 2, Turok 1, Strife, Metal Fatigue, and so on. Plenty of games, old school shooters, 2D shooters. So some of the new features: widescreen HD display, modern gamepad support, SMAA anti-aliasing, anisotropic texture filtering, achievements, Vulkan DirectX 11 graphics API, smooth object interpolation for high refresh rate monitors. Both versions of the original game combined to bring the best of both worlds. As for the game, it's a first-person viewpoint action, 20 plus levels of non-stop gameplay through an ancient Egyptian city and the tomb of the pharaoh Ramses. Real-time, fully 3D rendered gameplay allows you to move between floors with a single level. So the enemies are kind of 2D. That's why I put this game as a 2D game, although the levels are 3D levels. But it seems like most of the other stuff is 2D. Cross bridges and swim through underwater grottos. With just a machete to start, search for 6 other weapons including hand grenades, a flamethrower, an M60 machine gun and a magical cobra staff. Dynamic lighting creates stunning visual effects. I think if you love old school shooters and if you want to experience one of the classics, I played as a kid. Power Slave Exhumed on Steam, release date 2021. The next game on the list, Edge of Death Under a Uranium Sky. It's an action roguelike game set in a post-apocalyptic world. Use shotguns, power saws, axes and hand grenades, as well as cybernetic implants and more to battle your way across the scorched landscape. Release date 2021, no fixed day or month. Developed and published by Infernum Muse Interactive. It's described as roguelike, action roguelike, bullet hell, difficult. So it's described as mature content, and it's been hard to find high quality footage. So most of the footage you're seeing has been downloaded from the Twitter of the developers with 720p, which I guess Twitter also messes with the uploads and reduces the quality further. I think the game would be fun. As a bullet hell roguelike, it's gonna be fun if you want something post-apocalyptic. Add it to your wishlist, wait for the release, follow it, and I hope when it's out and you download it, if it's your type of game, you like it. Next, we're moving into games releasing in 2022. Numina is a game that releases in Q1 2022, no fixed date. Published by Starlit Studio, developed and published by Manuel Schmucki and Starlit Studio. It's a strange game because it's listed as action RPG as well as a JRPG. But it also mentions something about turn-based. My next video is gonna be 2D turn-based games. This might have been better fit there, but I think put it here because it says action RPG. So, step through the fourth wall into the world of Numina. You get in contact with Sean, who is able to hear your voice through the fourth wall. You meet in a very critical moment where Sean loses someone very close to him while being swept up in a conspiracy that involves your mutual bond, a plot threatening to shake the foundations of the world. Your bond will be tested in an exciting adventure that fuses many classic RPG aspects, a character-driven story in which your relationships change the course of the story, a dynamic battle system, challenging puzzles, towns waiting to be explored, and other exciting locations. As key features, you have things like breaking the fourth wall, branching decisions, battle with the elements, and explore the world of Alterna. Most side quests in Numina allow you to dive deeper into the backstory and lore of the world, but you can also explore the beautiful scenery with your grappling hook to reach higher places and find new gear, spell scrolls, or rare items. See, this is the battle here. Engage in a round-based combat system with action inputs for some attacks that require you to make timed inputs for maximum damage. Each character also has unique elemental abilities to exploit enemy weaknesses. Incorporate this into your strategy to quickly win battles. In terms of branching decisions, the decisions you make influence the relationship Sean has with the other characters you meet in the game. Having good relationships with your party members unlocks powerful combo attacks in battle and may open up the opportunity to take your relationship to the next level. So there's going to be some sort of romancing. Your decisions also influence the overall course of the story to conclude into one of the 4 possible endings. I hope this game is to some people's liking. It seems interesting enough. It caught my eye, so maybe it will catch some of you out there's eyes as well. Lilith's voice that only Sean can hear. A guardian spirit, you can say. You can interact with Sean and influence his decisions through dialogue choices in the game. Next we have Fabular, Once Upon a Spacetime. Coming to PC in 2022 is what it says. I've visited the main website of the game that has some interesting information there. You might wanna visit it as well. This is developed by Spiritus Games, published by Spiritus Games. The official website is Fabular, Fabular game.com. And over there you can see links to the Steam page, a bunch of GIFs, a bunch of information about the game, such as a top-down medieval space adventure, physics-based melee and range tactical combat with RPG and roguelike elements infused with a futuristic medieval theme, which I really like. Very nice fusion there. Illustrated text-based random events inspired by classic fantasy game books and folk tales, told in a deep, atmospheric, telltale universe of colorful characters and surreal locations. Ship and resource management, star map travel and exploration, procedural level generation, skills, upgrades, and dozens of unlockables. A retro look with a modern flavor. Dynamically lit 2D pixel art with 60 FPS animation and movement. Deep and atmospheric universe. Experience a storybook vision of outer space with Earth-like vistas and out-of-this-world locations. Romantic mixture of archaic and modern as medieval space knights clash in front of stylized metaphorical scenes. Folktale in a different light. Walk the path of a classical folktale hero, the youngest child who prevails against all odds. Encounter Fabular's version of classical folktale items and characters, such as the goose that laid the golden egg, table beset, or 7 league boots. The story. Once upon a space-time there was a kingdom ruled by a benevolent king for a long time in peace, But one day, the dreadful Void Wards, who terrorized the realm as if they were a seven-headed dragon, decided to steal and cage the sun itself. And so, the kingdom was shrouded in darkness. The king sent his army and his most loyal men to reclaim the sun, but none of them returned ever since. In the end, even his sons, the elder princes, rolled out to never return. It is now down to the king's youngest to go across the mythical realm of the galaxy to defeat each Void Ward and restore equilibrium to the kingdom. So interesting background of the war, and I think many people will like the uniqueness of this game. As an action RPG roguelike in space, and all the Fable-ish stuff, I think the best thing you can do is download the demo while it's still there. I'm not sure if they're gonna remove the demo, but download it, play it. I personally will test it myself. In the next few days I will be downloading, testing some of the demos of some of those games. So hopefully you like it. Next we have another game that has a demo available. There Is No Light. A game developed by Zellart and published by Hype Train Digital. If you're wondering, some of the titles behind Hype Train Digital that I've recently tried were Tunche and Black Book. So, interesting indie studio publisher, I guess. Publisher that works with indie studios. There is no actual planned release date. It says wishlist and follow. That's me quoting. Battle your way through the grim underground world in this brutal action-adventure RPG. Exterminate hordes of enemies, fight dangerous bosses, and explore the world the way you want. I think I've played the demo several months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was incredibly difficult for my taste. But that's not to say that some of you out there won't enjoy it. It's Souls-like difficulty, choices matter, dark pixel graphics, nice action RPG roguelike, so it might not be that much to my liking if I remember correctly when playing the demo, but maybe you will like it. Evil Wizard, a game published by Meta Publishing, developed by Rubber Duck. Meta Publishing are the publishers behind Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, just to give you some idea. Evil Wizard is a humor-filled action RPG that puts you in the shoes of a former final boss. Rise from defeat, rediscover long-lost powers and fight to reclaim your castle from an army of so-called heroes. I think it's amazing. It has a demo to try, so get the demo and in the meantime wishlist and follow the game, so you don't miss the launch. That's what it says on Steam. So rediscover your powers. If you infiltrate your own castle, unleash devastating spells, and purge your ancestral home of these miserable excuses for an enemy. Are you ready to get your hands dirty? It's time to be the bad guy for a change. A quest fueled by revenge, face off against hordes of enemies, avoid deadly traps and solve challenging puzzles as you reclaim the halls of your castle from the heroes that now live within it. Metroidvania inspired design, explore carefully crafted locations and navigate intricate levels, use your skills and elements to interact with the in-game world and unlock new paths. There is high-paced skill-based combat, so you could use devastating melee blows, unlock earth-shattering spells and dash around the map to crush your foes. You'll be in full control of every battle. Elements and forces to master. Control the power of fire, ice, void, lightning and earth. Mix various elements to unleash devastating attacks and exploit your enemies' weaknesses. Unique enemies and boss fights, so you can fine-tune your character to defeat increasingly more challenging enemies. Choose among dozens of upgrades as you get ready to vanquish an array of bosses, each with their own skills and combat style. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting as a title, and it will have something called remote play on TV on Steam. I'm not sure how this will work, but Steam lists that as a feature. It is a single player game, but I hope it's good. I personally will try the demo very soon. The final game of this list is called Shadow of Aya. As a release date, it's saying to be announced. Developed and published by Incoming Games, and this is another game where I apologize for the low quality of the footage. I had to download some a little bits of footage here and there from various tweets from the developers in Twitter. So there is no actual trailer that I could find, and I just jumbled together a bunch of that footage from the official Twitter. So about the game. Adventure, action, RPG, exploration, single player, those are some of the tasks. Master the elements of poison, fire, ice and meteorite in Shadow of Aya. A top-down action adventure, ode to the 8-bit classics. But beware, as your powers grow, so do the forces against you. The journey downward is choked with shadow and the creatures who lurk among them. So it says discover handcrafted world. Every rock is carefully placed, so leave no stone unturned. Shadow of Aya is meticulously designed to evoke the gotta find every secret vibes of the old school titles. Non-linear progression, an interconnected overworld and underworld mean that you gain abilities. That as you gain abilities, you also gain choices, set out in whichever direction you favor, filling every corner of your map. Explore the mysteries, secret paths, endless staircases, forbidden forests, hidden graveyards. The world bristles with relics, riddles and rare powers to aid you on your quest. Use elemental types. Every element has its weakness. Learn how to exploit them to blast, melt, burn, slash and freeze your way through waves of unwitting enemies. Meet an enigmatic cast. Wanderers, cartographers, alchemists and sisterhood of blood witches are amongst the many strangers you encounter. The question is, which among them can be trusted? Master your environment. Wield the elements to freeze lakes, burn forests, smash walls and more. A new discovery might reveal a shortcut back to where you started, or a secret glade where the sun can never reach. Evolve your combat style. The classic 2-button A+B control style is easy to learn, challenging to master. Each elemental power gives access to a new pair of moves, unlocking an entirely different style of play. Just as any game, this might not be for everyone, but if it is your cup of tea, then make sure to wishlist and follow so you don't miss the release. With that, we sum up all the games I wanted to bring you with this video. I hope you've liked it. Stay tuned in the next few days for the next shorter video with 6 or 7 games that are 2D games but with turn-based combat, so mostly JRPG kind of tactical battle, team-based battles. So yeah, again, I hope you liked this. I thank you very much for watching, and remind you again, if you want to be notified when I upload more content like this, or if I manage to find a new game to make builds for, there will be builds, guides and all sorts of good stuff. So you can subscribe to my channel, click that bell button and you won't miss the notifications. Additionally, there's also an option to be a YouTube member, which is paid, and that will unlock some special emotes and badges that I've made myself. So you get those perks, you support me, and it's a win-win, I guess. More win for me though, because I'm bad at drawing. So yeah, there's also optionally some tutorials, but you have to let me know if you need tutorials for Photoshop and Adobe Premiere. So keep it cool, thanks for watching again, and goodbye.